What a game last night. Welcome into today's show, presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more. And yeah, let's get right to it. First off the ball here, Bills, Jets.
Took a little longer than expected with all the laundry on the field, but we got to the end of that game last night.
Yeah, cool. Let's start there because to me, I watched it back this morning and I was like, the Jets had a few calls go against them that were pretty impactful. Whether it was the holding at the goal line that we talked about this morning,
which was a holding.
It was a hold, but it really was not impactful to the play, or then the holding on the screen, which I thought was more important, that would have put them into scoring range, takes them back, and then obviously a couple plays later, he throws the big pick.
Yeah, that was the center. That was 66, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, he tugs a little bit at the end. It's always the tug. It's, and it almost looked like he was trying to get the O-lineman's getting his hips to a certain spot. He's trying to wall off this defender for the screen. And when the defender doesn't react the way he wants, he kind of tries to pull him towards where he's going. I mean, it's an obvious hold, in my opinion. So was the Tyron Smith hold down at the goal line. I love the play call, getting Braylon Allen the ball, right tucked up there behind the line of scrimmage, quick hitter. You cannot hold. On those quick hitters, you just explode out of your stance, try to find a way to get your knuckles up. Harry Heastand used to always say, knuckles up like this. When you get into this world, that's when you pull. That's when you hold. And that jersey, anything comes away from your body, they're looking for that, and they will take touchdowns away. We saw it last night, and it was costly.
Yeah, but that shouldn't even happen. Let's talk about the roughing the passer penalty on that drive earlier.
Yeah.
That was not roughing the passer. Rodgers even said after the game it wasn't roughing the passer.
Epinesa? It was roughing the passer. By the letter of the law, it was roughing.
You think he put his body weight on him?
I 100% think
I thought he came to the side of him. What are you supposed to do?
I thought he 100% put his body weight on him. Obviously, there was nothing malicious there, but the rule states that the defensive player must strive to wrap up the passer with the defensive player's arms and not land on the passer with all or most of his body weight. That's most of his body weight.
I disagree.
So that's why
they have rules for a reason.
I think he was to the side of him.
This isn't a hip drop conversation. This is we're landing on somebody.
Kind of was on the side of him.
Rodgers was the reason this rule got put into place, right? It was the shoulder injury against the Vikings. Anthony Barr took him down. Then after that, they're like, no more body weight into the quarterback because that is what broke his clavicle on that play.
I think the reason that Rodgers was so adamant about saying I didn't think it was a roughing the passer either is because he's trying to appeal to the public right now. He's trying to get a little distraction. There's a little little politician inside of Aaron Rodgers that's playing towards the court of public opinion. And he's to say, well, we just fired our coach. We lost the football game. And how can I distract a little bit? I didn't disagree.
I wouldn't defend him in that scenario. I just thought it was a terrible call. It wasn't. Look, I'm a big believer in you protect the quarterbacks all you can. That was a little bit much. I mean, where are you supposed? You can't hit him low. You can't hit him in the head. You can't hit him in the middle.
Yep.
God forbid if your body rolls on him. It's a terrible, terrible rule. And I don't think that actually was full body weight. I just don't think he did. He kind of tugged him to the side.
All or most.
Yeah, well, he didn't. I don't even think. Did we get the split down the middle? How much was it?
It's they make these rules, they put them down in writing, and they train these officials up, and they say, this is what we're looking for. Obviously, there are not a lot of options for these guys to get after quarterbacks and to hit them the right way. Well, you know what? Go from the TJ Watt school of football and just go for the football. Stop going for quarterbacks. Go for the football instead of landing on these guys. You're going to get called every single time that you land on a quarterback.
That's why he got the penalty. He was going for the football.
He pulled his arm out and landed on him.
Yeah, he was going for
with more than most of his body weight.
I think we can all agree that letter of the law or not, that just shouldn't be. Right, like we can all just sit here and say that should not be roughing the passer. It's like that's an unavoidable part of football. What AJ Epinesa did on that play, right? Like that's just something that.
Yeah, like if I hit a quarterback and in his middle of his body and take him down, and there's no malicious intent to drive my body into the ground, it shouldn't be a penalty.
100%.
Hey, look. The rules are rules for a reason, and there's a lot of laundry on the field about a lot of different rules in the rule book, but we can complain till we're blue in the face about the amount of penalties on the field. Clean it up. I mean, clean it up. You're grabbing guys on the back end. You're trapping hands. You're hitting guys.
Illegal formation.
It's ugly.
Bills have a legal formation penalty 3 times.
79 wasn't covered up.
And then on the goal line, they had it in the very first drive. I mean, it's just terrible.
It's sloppy stuff. It's sloppy stuff.
I will say this, though. The Jets have no one but themselves to blame. You can point the refs, you can point whatever you want. You had 3 drives. 3 straight drives starting in the third quarter, 2 inside the 10, and you came away with 3 points from those 3 drives. All that went into Bills territory. And so when that's the case, and then I was like, yeah, you could say that the last drive, maybe it was a suspect holding call that put them out of field goal range, and then Rodgers obviously throws the pick, but you had your chances. Breece Hall on that big run, I couldn't believe he didn't score there.
How do you not score on that?
How do you not score there? Taylor Rapp, I got to have a hats off to him because he made that tackle.
Game.
He made the pass breakup on Garrett Wilson in the end zone, and he made the pass breakup on who was it over the middle of the field right before the interception? Was it
I remember the one with Hamlin and Rapp.
Yeah, Rucker. It was Rucker. Yeah. So,
but here's the other. Let's not forget that they got a Hail Mary at the end of the half. Otherwise it's 21.
Yep.
It was 20 to 10. Was it 20 to 10 at that moment?
10 and a half.
And then they get the ball back. The Bills coming out, and if they go get something, then it's a different game. So no, they got a Hail Mary.
And McDermott's still, it's still puzzling some of the things that he elects to do, right? I mean, I still have some issues with some of the things that McDermott's doing, like when Aaron Rodgers, historically the best Hail Mary thrower of all time, has an opportunity to throw a Hail Mary. I'm going to add a +1 in there. I'm going to get somebody else rushing, get Aaron off his spot.
Pet peeve of mine.
Well, get Aaron off his spot.
They've done that before. I mean, they did that.
I'm sending 2. I don't want to see Aaron play Disney on Ice back there and then do the hero throw.
Here's the problem, and every team does this. You know this. They keep guys in the middle of the field. You don't need guys in the middle of the field.
Build a fence and then rush.
That far back. You don't need guys in the middle of the field.
He said it at half. He said we thought they were going to go sideline. So if you watch the All-22, there's like 2 guys that aren't even in the end zone on the Bills defense, coverage players, plopped on
because
the
there was there was 8 seconds left. You could have gone the outs. You could have gone outs.
They were going to do
get yourself 15 yards.
Field position.
Well, what yard line were they on?
They were on 40.
Yeah.
45.
So you could have got to the. You could have flipped fields.
5 yards.
You could have flipped fields 45 to 45. You had about 2 seconds remaining if you throw a couple of these outbreakers. No, and maybe throw a shorter Hail Mary.
They were thinking Rodgers didn't want to. At this point, didn't have 65 in his
even
arm.
If it wasn't a Hail Mary. Okay, but when you play the Hail Mary, rush 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Put the rest of them on the goal line.
Speed them up. Yeah.
And then the guys, you see all these linebackers. What the hell are the linebackers ever on the field for in that situation?
No, well, that's the thing. So McDermott even said, we didn't think it was Hail Mary yet. They had 8 seconds.
There was a lot of time.
Thought they were going to do a little.
He's excused. Come on, everybody. You knew it was a Hail Mary.
Well, we didn't. Call. No, they didn't. They thought it was going to be a quick out. So
and it was actually.
They thought one more play and then Hail Mary. So
and they had Bill Belichick on the Manning cast last night, and they were talking situational football and what would be happening in this situation. It was funny to watch Bill Belichick talk in the middle of the 3 box, and he was explaining, there's time. You could go for the out route. You could go for the Hail Mary now. And both Eli and Peyton in sync were just nodding the whole time because Bill was preaching. He was like, 8 seconds left. We do have time to get more field position to put ourselves in a better spot. And they didn't do it. To your point, McDermott thought that they could be going sideline with 8 seconds left. Aaron elects to go Hail Mary, and the rest is beautiful history.
Go sideline. You can kick your. What's the difference?
He can't kick a 30-yard field goal.
In that wind, and the Hail Mary is going to make it there with Rodgers. He can make it there no matter what. So I didn't think. McDermott's
rank the Hail Marys. Rodgers' career. What was your favorite?
My favorite could have been last night just because of the fact that they showed the 4 previous ones, and then it was like they went back to the live, and then it happened. It was the most beautiful television you can imagine. I jumped up off my couch like he did.
What the hell were the Bills defensive players doing? Just bat that thing down.
No, I know.
Lazard, what a strong-handed game for Lazard.
The fact that he threw it to Lazard is also like hilarious. That it's all Packers. He throws one to Janis, one to Richard Rodgers.
Well, he's not throwing to Mike Williams anymore.
What about him calling him out? Did you see the post game?
No, I didn't actually.
Oh, he's called out. He called out Mike Williams on the interception after the game. Rodgers came out and said, "Look, we were running 2 verticals. He's supposed to be on the red line. I went to throw it because 3 guys went with Lazard. He goes, I went to throw it, and for some reason, Mike Williams is running an in-breaker.
Yeah,
and so when he's throwing it, he said he was going here,
and it took some off of it.
He went that way and he threw it. That's what happened. So, but you don't hear quarterbacks call him out like that, which means Davante Adams,
which means it's worse than we think.
Correct.
It means they should have given it up for Davante Adams before this week. Honestly, I still can't believe they haven't.
I'm surprised too.
They're doing that. They've gone for broke. I mean, they're trying to win. They got Aaron Rodgers. They got Tyron Smith, who's proven to be not the All-Pro Hall of Fame level left tackle. that we expected. And we knew he wasn't going to be Tyron Smith, but you give up the issues in the pass protection as a veteran left tackle, and then you get the big hold call on the Braylon Allen touchdown. And there's more to be desired. As a Jets owner, as a Jets coach, you'd think they got to make a move for Davante Adams. I'm surprised they haven't done it sooner.
And if you're Joe Douglas, why wouldn't you make the move? Because you're not going to be there if they don't
You're right.
get into the postseason.
You're right.
So go give them what the hell they want. Go get them.
It's one of those.
It's not your stuff.
That's what I always talk about with like these lame duck GMs. You can't give them the freedom to go mortgage future capital, future draft picks, because if I'm in that situation, it's just human nature. You're going to do all this stuff, forward stuff, just keep your job for 1 more year, 2 more years. So maybe there is Woody Johnson stepping in saying, hey, we can't give up all this, but maybe not.
Or general manager, or the real general manager, Aaron Rodgers, will make the move this week.
Yeah, right. All right. Bills, though, we haven't talked much about them, but big win. They're pretty much in the driver's seat now for the AFC East.
That's how you open a drive after an Aaron Cromer pregame speech for that offensive line. He was essentially like, oh, Josh Allen, maybe some issues last week, wasn't really confident. The offense didn't look great. We got guys on the outside who, in our opinion, aren't as good as people we've had in the past. How can we quell these issues? Run the damn ball. And they went out and they did that. They were rolling that line of scrimmage like a wave at the beach. It was just one solid wave. And then they line up in heavy and they do it again. They hit you right. They hit you left, up the middle. It was awesome to see. And for Josh Allen and the Bills, that's the type of team offensive win that you need, and having guys step up to if you want to make a run at this thing.
Aikman, at one point during the first drive, he said, oh, they got the extra offensive line. They opened the game with the extra offensive lineman on the field. I mean, that's exactly what they did. They said they put their intention right out there. We're going to run the ball. Here's the other thing about it. Reach up on the shelf, grab a running back, put him in there, and he runs the ball.
Ray
they're
Davis
everywhere.
Is good.
He's good, but they're everywhere.
Don't undersell
they're
Ray Davis.
Everywhere.
Ray Davis, great back.
I love Ray Davis.
Pump him up some more.
No, I love Ray. He was one of my favorite backs in the draft. But again, you can find him. You don't pay him. You draft him.
Well, it helps when you got a good offensive line. It helps when you got some glass eaters up front.
But he also is a tough runner, and he will pick up the blitz. I remember when I was there in the summer, they were raving about him picking up the blitz, and he's a good, tough kid.
He's a 4th rounder.
Somebody they can trust.
To me, that's
where you get your backs.
You can find backs consistently in that range. And he was
Here you go. Right
darn good back.
Another one.
All right. We'll get to the power rankings, see where the Bills are, see where the Jets are right after this.
CBS Sports HQ, giving you college football coverage unlike anyone else.
We're talking Big Ten.
Pre- and post-game coverage.
Are you encouraged with the way that this team responded?
Along with breaking news.
A lot of movement in the rankings this week.
Highlights and expert analysis.
That streak could be in jeopardy here.
Sure. What was your main takeaway from this game? How impressive was his domination?
That really changed the football game.
Let's go ahead and have some more fun.
Another wild ending.
The chaos continues.
Turn to CBS Sports HQ.
All right. We're back. The costume is John Gruden because we're feeling nicey, ready for these power rankings.
Oh, yeah, man.
All right, let's get to the top 10 where Kansas City Chiefs and Minnesota Vikings unmoved at 1 and 2 coming off their bye week. Houston Texans at number 3. Detroit Lions up to number 4. Baltimore Ravens at 5. Green Bay Packers all the way up to number 6 after the big win against the Cardinals.
Ooh.
Bills at 7. Falcons at 8, though. Bears at 9 and the Bucs at 10. We may be talking about one of those teams there in the top 10 as being a little too high in our goal.
You got to remember, there's a lot of crap in this league.
There is a lot of crap in this league, but I do think there's a tier that's
bottom
really
of the barrel is
themselves.
just a sludge.
No, there's a lot of middling teams.
Yes.
Let's get to the bottom of the barrel, though, just for everyone's edification. Miami Dolphins at 28. Jacksonville Jaguars at 29.
They could easily be. There's so many other bad teams in this league, but they could easily be worse than that.
Cleveland Browns at 30. Patriots at 31. And the Panthers taking up the rear, sadly, yet again. Let's get the team that's too high, who's too low, and who's just right in our Goldilocks segment. Kyle?
A team that's too high for me is the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, they could be lower. They definitely could be
17?
lower.
Dallas Cowboys all the way down at number 17.
They could be even lower. The way that this team is like not even able to go out there and put a competitive effort on the football field leads me to believe they don't even belong in the teenage years. You know what I'm saying? They should be 19. Scroll down a little bit for me, Harry. Can you show me that list again? So we're looking at the Cowboys here who have been blown out. They've been beaten at home, embarrassed, pantsed. You got Jerry Jones on his birthday crying a little bit. You're telling me the Jets couldn't beat the Cowboys Cowboys. The Broncos probably couldn't beat the Cowboys. Spencer Rattler, the way he looked last week, could have beat the damn Cowboys. I think you got to get him lower on your list.
They gave up a 51 burger.
But then again,
the Saints.
Hey, you know what? The Saints give a 51 burger to your boy, Baker Mayfield, and that dominant rushing attack from the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers would have put 71 up against the Cowboys last week.
The Cowboys are good, but let's not forget
the Cowboys down there a little bit.
A week ago, they beat the Steelers at Pittsburgh.
Get them down there. Get them down there.
Here's the thing. Their wins, Giants, Steelers, Browns, are not impressive.
No.
To say the least.
They should be ranked 30th.
They lost to some good teams.
They lost some good teams, but they were not in those games. Even the Ravens game.
I don't know if lose is the word I would.
No, they were not in that game with the Ravens.
No, but they have a ton of injuries on defense.
Yes.
I mean, you got to
They got educated in a couple of those games.
They got a bye week this week, so they won't lose.
That's my too high.
Okay.
I don't think it's crazy to say with this, considering the injuries that they have at this very moment, that they are probably they're just going to have a tough time winning games.
It only gets worse from here when guys start planning that trip. When they start,
they go to the West Coast.
I will say,
you know where they're going to go this year. They're going to go to Galveston. They're not leaving the state of Texas. They didn't earn it.
I would consider keeping Tyler Smith at left tackle long term.
Tyler Smith's the dog.
Yeah.
I see no reason why he couldn't play left tackle. Now he's awesome at guard, and that guy's a Pro Bowl, all pro guard for sure.
He's an elite left guard.
But with the way Tyler Guyton's playing, the tackle versus guard conversation,
I agree.
Much more.
I would keep him at left tackle and play. What would they play? Bass at left guard, and they would play.
What do you do with Guyton?
Let him learn how to sit.
Let him learn. Do you move him inside?
No. I think eventually he's going to be the right tackle.
Yeah,
I think he's a right tackle.
He was at Oklahoma.
Right, he was right tackle.
Really surprised me that they obviously had to place someone in there right away, but it surprised me that they didn't kick Smith
play
out
hasn't
right
been
away.
the same since he came back off the injury either.
So
Cowboys too high.
My team that's too high. I'm going to say the Atlanta Falcons at number 8. We did this yesterday on the CBS Sports Network show. They were not in our top 7 teams in the NFC. I do think when you look at their defense specifically, 20 points in each of the last 5 games they've allowed. I just think that they are suspect on that side of the ball. It's not like this offense is a world beater. It's a darn good offense. They have a lot of ways they can win. We've talked about these teams that have all these playmakers and how that helps you play a number of different games. But if they do have to play a drop back passing game, I still worry about that offensive line. And I just think defensively, you compare them to the teams that are right behind them on this list: Chicago Bears, Tampa Bay Bucks. I don't think they hold.
They beat Tampa. They beat Tampa.
I know they beat Tampa, but that was
2 weeks ago.
Fluky.
A week, not even 10 days ago.
Yeah,
that was a strange game.
It was, but they won the game.
They did.
You gotta give them credit.
They've had some fluky dubs on the season.
Yeah.
That
they play Seattle this
I also got in trouble for putting the Commanders over the Buccaneers when they won straight up. But it's early, and the Commanders are getting better.
So who? Okay, you put the Bears. Okay, that was a tough one. Go ahead, keep going.
Well, I said the Bears and the Bucks behind them, 49ers behind them, Commanders behind them. I'm taking, I think, all 4.
Kirk Cousins ain't putting up no 500 yards on the Bears. Let me tell you what.
It ain't like the Commanders' defense is any good either. Now they just lost Jonathan Allen too.
Well, Mike Sanders still. Yeah, Jonathan Allen's a big loss. Actually, that one's not gonna hurt. But their secondary has been a lot better, I think, the Commanders, than I expected. We'll see. I'm just saying. I think that defense, the Atlanta Falcons on the season.
I'll be honest with you. I don't love the Falcons. I just think they've earned the right to be there. And they'll play Seattle this week, and they'll probably beat Seattle and Atlanta and earn the right to stay there.
Team ranked too low?
Yeah.
That's where we're at now? The Titans. Titans are ranked too low. They're only one quarterback away from a couple wins here. This guy, Will Levis, finds a way to put them in position to lose football games. We heard Calvin Ridley, this guy they went out and spent all this money on last week, talking about he needs to get the football earlier. I know we have a lot of varying opinions on the Calvin Ridley situation, and some people think he's cooked, he's spent goods, but in my opinion, you go out there with your backup quarterback and he's going to give you a chance to win football games week in, week out. 27 is very, very low on this list. I still like the pieces they have on the defensive side of the football. They can keep them in some games, but I think it all comes down to this quarterback, Will Levis.
Okay, first off, let me talk about Calvin Ridley. He needs to quit complaining because he ain't getting open. I mean, you saw you watched the tape. He doesn't get open.
Yeah, I mean, 8 targets. Some of those were very good throws. I think at least
targets,
3 of them were like where they needed to be. He wasn't there.
Yeah. And he didn't catch him. He's complaining for no reason. He complains.
We heard Matt Ryan talk about it yesterday. I'm going to take Matt Ryan's word for it. Let's get this guy Calvin Ridley the football. Okay, he's a passionate guy.
Matt Ryan played with Calvin
I know
Ridley.
that. This is the conversation we had on the podcast yesterday.
Yeah.
an emotional receiver. He's a guy that wears his heart on his sleeve. Me and him both agreed that we want to have your guy be more vocally emotional than be like shut down and in a shell. I want to hear that from Calvin Ridley. It shows me he cares. And when you're on a football team like the Titans and things have gone wrong week in, week out, new ways to lose, I want to hear more guys like this. I want to hear more guys begging for an opportunity. I know 14 targets, 14 yards. Historically, really bad.
Here's what I want to see. I want to see Calvin Ridley get open first.
Correct.
I want to see
He's not open.
You're going to have somebody throw you open.
We could sit here and kill Levis all you want, and he's made some really dumb decisions. Mm-hmm. But when he drops back to pass, they aren't open. I promise you. And you've watched the tape. Hopkins can't run at all.
That was Hopkins and Boyd are.
There's only a handful of offensive coordinators and offenses that can actually get people really actually open in the NFL. A lot of these throws that you see are guys covered or a guy throwing somebody open, anticipatory throws. You need somebody who's calm under pressure that's not just swimming in their own head. I think you get the backup in there and it gives you a better chance to win.
I think they need to let him play looser and freer and go, much like he did last year when he went in there, when they allowed him to throw the ball down the field. The guy's a deep ball thrower, and they don't drive the ball down the field.
Yeah, I would try to get Traylon Burks in there just because
50-50 balls.
You just need the speed.
But he doesn't run that well either, though.
I know but just watching Boyd and Hopkins at this point,
they can't run it.
Hopkins is like.
And their body language,
he can't run. He can play he can't play on the outside anymore.
Boyd's body language is awful on the tape, by the way.
You need somebody who's going to get the ball out quick, see the defense, and get rid of it. I don't want to see hero ball anymore. Doesn't work.
But again, like you watch the tape, there's throws in the middle of the field. He hits on a 20-yard in route. He hits Ridley right here. And
look, I hear you, dude. It hasn't been good, but it can be better. And we've seen this offense.
It is better with Mason Rudolph.
We have seen the offense look serviceable with Mason Rudolph in there.
Yeah, you saw him for a half against a crappy team.
It looked serviceable. It's an NFL. It's an NFL defense versus an NFL quarterback.
Mason Rudolph is a backup quarterback in the NFL. Play this guy through it, and then if you have to get a quarterback, you go to him next year.
Go get Tyson Bagent from Chicago.
Oh, stop.
I like Bagent. All right, my team that's too low. New York Giants, 24.
Good football team.
Now the offense, yeah, it's going to be tough, but also they've been playing the last 2 weeks without Malik Neighbors. I'm assuming Malik Neighbors is coming back. And then once that's the case, like they can actually move the football with Malik Neighbors in there fairly consistently. He's that good, commands that much attention. And the defense is awesome. I think this defensive line is top 3 to 5 in the NFL right now. And in a problem in ways that not a lot of people are going to be able to block him because Dexter Lawrence, not a lot of people can block that guy. He's one of.
And Burns has actually started the show.
And Burns, yeah. So they have
been some bad blocking attempts against Burns too.
So I think when that's the case, and they've been right there with a lot of teams, even in their losses, I think this Giants team is just better than 24. I take them over the Cardinals right now. I take them over, the Saints right now. I just think they're a better team than that. I take them probably over the Broncos right now. They're not that bad in my opinion.
They're all in the same ballpark, right?
But they are all in the same. Yeah,
I'm
not arguing too hard for them. But
there's a lot of any given Sunday going on in the league this year.
I mean, like Arizona went to San Francisco and beat the Niners, and then they got whacked by the Packers. I mean, the inconsistency when you're a bad team usually shows up. Like Arizona is a perfect example of a try-hard team that can overcome some of its limitations once in a blue moon, but they're always going to show up.
All right,
team rank just right. The Washington Commanders, my Goldilocks team is the Washington
outside
Commanders.
The top 10 at number 12.
Number 12. And I think, I've talked about teams being in the right spot before, hiding behind that elite top tier group of football teams. I think if I'm the Commanders at the beginning of the year, if I told you were going to be the number 12 team in the NFL after this past week, you'd be happy. If I told you your quarterback went and had a shootout and maybe arguably outplayed Lamar Jackson at M&T Bank Stadium, you would be thrilled. I think the Goldilocks spot for the Commanders is right here, just inside the Baker's dozen at 12, gives them a chance to climb into that top 8 as the season rolls along, and even if they do take another L or two, they're not going to fall too far back into the 20s. Let's say they're always going to be in that top 15. 12 is a good spot for this Commanders team. Dan Quinn's got them playing really good football. Cliff Kingsbury in the offense, a lot of fun. And Jaden, he seems to be getting even more comfortable. And for a guy who came out looking like an MVP caliber quarterback as a rookie, early in the season, he's even getting better. So they're in the right spot. I mean, they have some holes in that football team, but the offense can carry them through some of these issues.
Yeah, they're going to have to score points, though. I mean, the defense is not that's what he needs. Everybody keeps saying they need to go get Davante Adams or whatever, and I'm like, don't give up assets to go get him. You need to build that defense for the future.
Yep.
And Allen being down now, that's big in the middle of their line. I think they're going to give up a lot of points. So Jaden Daniels is going to have to score a lot of points, and I think he will.
It's like like when I think about the 2018 Chiefs, they were so dynamic on offense and could score almost every time out, but they couldn't stop anybody on defense. That's really the reason they ended up not being in the Super Bowl champion discussion. So for this Commanders team, to your point, they need to find a way to get this thing more complete to be able to complement that offense. They've already got this offense rolling. Let's complement it on defense.
I was a little higher than them prior to the Jonathan Allen injury. Now they're really like grasping at straws along that defensive line. They're going to really struggle to get pressure on teams, I believe, unless they're going to use Frankie Louvu as blitzer. I think he's awesome in that role. So they're not without answers, in my opinion, but it's just
they're not going to be able to line up 4 guys and go win.
But exactly, you look at any of the defenses around him: Steelers, Chargers, 49ers, Buccaneers. It's clearly they're behind all those teams. So it's just when you're relying on a rookie QB to go out and win you games every single week,
right?
He'll have duds, like he'll have rookie moments. He'll have games, and he hasn't had many this year.
No.
So, but he will. It's impossible not to. So that will come up, and then also there's the whole. If you remember Cliff's MO in Arizona, they had hot start. Teams find out what they're doing. The Arizona Cardinals last month of the season seemed like every single year were ice cold last.
He ran out of new pages and
exactly.
He's kind of evolved the offense a lot, though.
I tweeted out yesterday. He was taking notes at USC. There's things that he's done on tape this year already that are like right out of USC playbook.
Correct.
So that's a good thing. When you're Lincoln Riley is when you're, that's why everyone hires the guy under Sean McVay. Everyone hires the guy under Kyle Shanahan because it rubs off on you, these ideas. But we'll see. We'll just see if Cliff has that second act to him that was missing more often than not in Arizona. I hope he does. All right, my team that's ranked just right. Cleveland Browns, number 30. That's precisely where they belong at this point. I don't think they're worse than the Patriots or Panthers, but I don't think they're better than the Jaguars. They stink.
They beat the Jaguars, but
I don't think they're better.
No, not stink. The way they're constructed right now. They're not.
They stink.
Man, the Jaguars stink.
Well, the Jaguars stink
for the Browns.
I know, but I'm just like after what he just said.
At least the Jaguars have a quarterback who can make plays on the field. That Deshaun Watson needs to be sat down. Period. End of story.
It's
Terry Bradshaw messed up on the air, and he said they need to put him down. And my dad was like, "I think you mean they need to sit him down."
But they need to play Jameis Winston. I'm a big believer that this is being mandated from above.
Oh my God, yeah,
100%.
Because I don't.
Not the Lord.
No.
GM level.
Kevin Stefanski, I don't think wanted him.
Yeah.
He would have been happy keeping Baker Mayfield. Do you think the Cleveland fans would take Baker Mayfield right now?
Goodness.
But this was mandated from above, and now it's mandated from above to play him. He is awful.
It's $64 million this year, right?
And then next year,
64. Yeah. And then 64.
Yeah. I mean, why would you redo that deal?
Well, so the way they did it, it was more just
that's
with the
so
cap
much
rollover.
Money.
Yeah, but look at the guaranteed money is now.
It was always all guaranteed.
Yeah, but I mean, they can't get out from underneath
fully.
This.
Yeah, at no point. Well, so if they didn't push all that money, theoretically, someone could have traded for him, and they could have taken some of that space on.
Right.
Ain't nobody trading for him. Unfortunately, he is there through 2026, whether they like it or not. And
what they
cannot cut him.
What they could do is trade one of their players and say, we'll throw in him as part of the member, and then we'll eat some of the cap hit. That you could do that.
Yeah. As like a purely offloading cap. The Brock deal. They did that. It was the Browns that did that, right?
Wait, explain that to me.
So basically,
they package him with somebody else.
So here, we'll give you a player to take this cap space off of ours.
Gotcha.
Basically, just like the Texans did this. So the Texans traded for Brock Osweiler. Basically, it's just a money sink, just because they were in such a bad roster spot, and the Browns wanted to win. Then that they just took him on.
You could make it happen, but his is even almost too restrictive for that unless you take off a big chunk of it yourself.
We've got our best minds on it, sir.
Or it was the other way around. I think I got that wrong. It was the Texans that traded Osweiler.
Yeah. But the bottom line is he is, and I don't know. Look, I always thought he was a tad overrated with the Texans. That was always my belief.
Mm-hmm.
He put up big numbers the year they went 4-12 that one year, and the other years were very normal, average quarterback years. I never thought he was what everybody made him out to be, but I never imagined he'd be this bad.
Yeah.
He takes a drop back, and he's doing one of two things. He's either dropping back and moving up and moving back and moving up, or he's going this way and that way and that way. And
DeAndre Hopkins did get 2 quarterbacks paid heavily over the course of his career, whether it was with the Texans, Deshaun, and then with Arizona and Kyler. He was in his prime. Very, very nasty. To speak to the cap situation the Browns are in, his cap number the next 2 years, anyone want to take a guess? $72.9 million each of the next 2 years, and then a $26 million dead cap in 2027 for him to not be on the roster. So that's a tough spot to be in this franchise.
I wonder what he's investing in.
But what you can do, what you can do is sit his ass down.
Yeah, I mean,
your money doesn't dictate you have to play.
Exactly. And at this point, he needs it, right? Like, he needs to be told this is unacceptable. Like, when someone's acting up, you're like, hey, you're doing it wrong, right? Like, you're doing the quarterback position wrong. You got to go back to drawing board, beating your head against the wall the way they are. Ain't going to change things around at this point. He doesn't need more football. He needs everything up here.
He also looks disinterested.
Oh, no, I mean, for sure.
That's my point is at which point this year, next year, the following year, does Deshaun Watson, let's just assume that he continues to play at this horrible level of performance. At what point, if you're Deshaun Watson, do you say the $60 million isn't worth it? Get me out of here. I'm so tired of being the center of this media circus. This is a serious question.
Never.
He's already earned so much money. He's going to earn all this money this year. Does he just take his ball and go home eventually?
No,
and get earning and get everybody out of it.
I'd go sit on the bench and earn.
Man, I just don't know how that goes.
$60 million?
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't.
That's my question. It's like
it's generational wealth forever and ever and ever. You don't give that up. And
do you think
he retires after this contract? He's just like, I'm done. You think like that's where he is?
That's what I'm thinking. Like he's probably going to just walk his ball home in 2 years.
How many times does he throw a football at a guy's feet?
Oh,
like that's not caring.
With skittish feet of his own.
Correct. That's not caring. That means I'm not going to stand here and even risk taking a shot. And he has got, but in fairness to him, he's been brutalized at times because that offensive line's
in bad shape. We're not going to.
But
he's on pace to take 88 sacks, Mike said.
That's 12
88 sacks.
Wasn't Bill Callahan there?
Yeah, Callahan is, I think I tweeted out, he deserves one of Stefanski's Coach of the Year awards after this.
O-line coaches, man.
Here's the other part of it. Joe Flacco didn't have his 2 tackles last year.
No, yeah, I mean, it's not
Nick,
impossible. It obviously, I don't think it would be great, anyone who's playing there. It's not like it's looked awesome. And that's what Jonathan Jones came on last week and said, in practice, no one's really looking good. That's not surprising. But there's a difference between not looking good and being the worst quarterback of all time through 6 games.
Correct.
And he's been the worst quarterback of all time.
And he's also made
all time.
Since 2000. So all modern times.
He's made the receivers. He's made the receivers look bad at times. They don't even look good anymore. Like Amari Cooper drops balls now and stuff. He's probably so surprised it's on him.
He threw the one little hitch route to Amari, and it was that 2-play sequence that you and I went over yesterday, where he sailed it over his head, and then he skipped it like a rock in a pond, and then he had the gall to look at Amari Cooper and give him that finger up, like that's a jump ball. It's like, no, dude, it's a stop route.
He doesn't, and he's just
figure it out. See, he goes.
If you're getting hit and you're sped up and you're doing things and you're quick, everything's quick. Okay, that's one thing, but the attitude, it just looks so I got my money. I do not care. And if I'm on that team, I'm going, well, Jameis cares. He might not be better than him, but he cares.
That's the crazy thing is you have the guy who's backup who is locked in regardless. He's locked in for week 17 games that don't matter.
Right.
He's never going to.
He might turn it over 2 or 3 times,
but
he's going to care. This guy doesn't care.
When I remember playing, and there would be years where we would just be a horrible team, and I'm not going to name any names. So we had a veteran offensive lineman that sometimes at practice he would be like, "Kyle, can you just fall on my leg? Like, just get me out of here." You know what I mean? Like, can you jump on me? I wonder if anybody's like, "Let's roll up onto Sean during practice and get Jameis in the game."
Let's hear the name.
No names.
Come on. We'll figure it out. We'll find them.
No names.
We'll figure it out.
I'm sure you will.
Next week, I will figure it out.
No names.
I will have a name.
It was a veteran on a bad team.
I will have a name
that I was buddies with.
We'll do it on camp. All right. We're going to take a quick break.
Please jump on my leg.
After this, we are going to seize debate. Next.
If you love football, this is the best time of the year.
This is as big as it gets.
The stuff of absolute dreams.
The debate.
We called for it, and
we did.
The Jets answered. Fourth rounder. That could become a second.
Thank you.
Jets are giving up 4.
Okay. The fact that he called
Davante
out
Adams.
Mike Williams, he knew that yesterday.
You may have.
Ooh, they just couldn't get it done in time
Correct.
for the game.
He
They
knew it was
couldn't.
happening.
They couldn't get Davante on an airplane in time. I think this is awesome.
Here's the wild thing, though. They win that game yesterday with Davante.
Yes.
You just cost yourself a loss by not having
doing it
any
last
sort of
week.
urgency.
Yeah.
I think that's.
See, here's what probably in the back of their mind is say, well, we got rid of the coach. We'll get a bump from the coach getting out of there, and we can win. Then we'll go get Davante Adams the next week. We don't want that to be the distraction. I guarantee you that's how these idiots think.
I like this move. This makes the Jets. This makes the Jets scary, dude.
It makes them interesting.
Oh, he's gonna look so cool.
You
in
saw
that
Rodgers
jersey.
yesterday. He still has. He was objectively played an awesome game of football.
He still got it.
The rest of the roster,
though. A little bit about that defense too.
Yeah, the rest of the roster, I'm not saying is Super Bowl worthy, even with the addition of Davante Adams. But I do think a lot of the ills offensively were number 2 wide receivers who just couldn't make a play flat out. It was just Allen Lazard dropping balls left and right. Mike Williams not on the same page.
Nothing
with
from
Aaron
the
Rodgers.
tight end position.
Nothing from the tight end position. There's just the receivers outside of Garrett Wilson, who's to me still not like that go-to.
Yeah,
exactly. He's not
an
that
elite 2.
go-to number 1. Whereas Davante Adams is a chain mover, a 3rd and 6 slant route. That's easy money. You just can't worry about. So this to me, I think it's a big move. Now, obviously, I think it's a week too late. I think they cost themselves a real chance of winning the East by doing this then. But I still think you look at the AFC playoff picture, it's not great. There's not 7 teams that I think are better than the Jets right now. And truthfully, this probably bumps them up into borderline top 5 in the AFC.
This really pisses me off, the timing of this, because I picked the Jets. My bold prediction beginning of the year was the Jets were going to sweep the AFC East. If Davante Adams is on that roster last night and he's looking at Mike Williams, if he's looking at Davante Adams instead of Mike Williams, we could be looking at
But also, you could say that maybe Davante Adams doesn't catch the Hail Mary.
Well, he's going to throw it to Allen Lazard, in my opinion.
I mean, but they got a Hail Mary to get into the game. They were getting dominated.
Well,
you're right.
No, the
but
second half, though, they did dominate second half.
Second half, the Bills got the ball in the opening drive. The second half, it got that crappy penalty on Spencer Brown to wipe out an interference penalty. That was now.
So I'll say this about the Spencer Brown unnecessary roughness, which I was talking to you about.
Right up your alley.
So
right there.
That is not a necessary roughness. It's all one act. Like, he gets him on the ground, and in the process of getting him on the ground, he finishes him. It's not like if I were to throw a lineman on the ground and then spear him. Right. It's like all one act. So didn't like that call at all.
Terrible.
I'm glad you brought that up.
It wiped out a pass interference penalty.
Yep. Yeah, dude, this makes them a legitimate threat.
Okay, so right now, just give an overview of the AFC playoff picture. We have the Texans, Ravens, Chiefs, Bills leading their respective divisions. I don't think anyone sees those changing, right? Like, I think everyone would agree that's probably your 4 for 4 in terms of division winners coming into the season. After that, you only have 2 more teams above 500. You have the Chargers at 3-2.
They're playing well.
Yep.
Who I think you could say with the way their defense is played,
they're coming along.
6 points in 5 games. They're probably a playoff team. And then the Steelers at 4-2.
They're not.
Who are a shaky 4-2. I think everyone could agree that you could see them going 8-9, 9-8.
Like you would think
10-7.
I think the Bengals will make a run at the Steelers.
So the Bengals are 2-4, the Broncos are 3-3, and the Colts are 3-3. Those are basically your competition there. with
None
the
of those
Jets at
teams are
2-4 too. So there's
The Jets are the best of that group.
Jets are 2-4.
you have a real underclass, I feel like, in the AFC with the Jags, Titans, Browns, Raiders, Patriots. And Dolphins that are just like those teams are out of it. You don't even have to think about those teams the rest of the year if you're in the AFC. So you're really competition for these 7 spots: Colts, Bengals, Steelers, Broncos, Chargers, Jets.
But like
those are your
if Miami somehow
wild card
went and won
possibles.
at Indy this week, which I don't think they will, but if they did, then when they start getting if they get two is probably going to come back. Then all of a sudden they're in it. But you're right. And the Bengals can get in. If the Bengals go to Cleveland and win this week, they're in it. So you're probably right. It's those teams though.
I just still can't believe you've lost 3 straight, the Jets. If he was here for the Broncos game, they'd probably win that. If he's there for this past week, they probably win that. Just like, man, you could have been 4-2.
Let's think about it from
if you were going to make that call, and they were always going to make that call. Just make it 3 weeks.
Quality of life change for Davante Adams going from the Raiders quarterback room to Aaron Rodgers. I mean, life gets.
Well, I love Las Vegas, so I can't. Say.
But life gets a lot easier for him in terms of they're all they're on the same page, dude. And he's going to get the football. He's going to get targets. He's going to catch the ball. I mean, it's going to be like when Derek
Rodgers
Carr
is notoriously not a hospital ball thrower. Like he's said over the years, he's does his best to protect his guys. Like worries about that.
There was a couple hospital balls last night.
Garrett Wilson got one,
or is Davante
and the tight end.
Well, that was one that you had. Those were had to have it though.
Yeah.
You have to throw those, unfortunately. I don't know. I think again, I think this makes the Jets.
It's the right move.
Curious, it's the right move for them.
The roster still has
late.
the defense is a concern of mine. They've been pushed around at times in the run game.
Cromer had those
but the
running backs running straight at the corners too yesterday. And I was following Lige Duzabal on Twitter last night. He was talking about how they were slanting their defensive line a lot for the Jets. And, you know, when you slant, it leaves you open to get driven off the ball or washed down. That's what happened. But also give credit to the Bills. They challenged those corners. They challenged the little guys on the football field. Do you want to play this game that we are going to come out and play with a heavy personnel and running that thing down your throat?
See, Reed went into that game having a great season, and he wasn't great last night. And did you hear Sauce Gardner's name at all last night?
Only when he got ran around at the first play of the game.
It was a non-factor.
He lost contain.
All right. We'll scrap the C's debate segment, and we'll go right on to our draft segment, where we're going to be drafting historical units since we go year 2000 on, because I don't remember anything before I was 10 years old. So a year in a squad. So a year. So like an offense, a defense, a special teams, and a coaching staff. So like 07 Patriots offense.
I forgot coaching staff. Okay.
So I get first pick, right?
Where are we?
You had the first pick.
Yeah, I'll give you the first pick.
I'll take the 2000 Ravens defense.
2000 Ravens defense.
Set an all-time scoring record for 16 games in a season. And I actually watched the Jacksonville Jaguars score 36 of those points in one game when Jimmy Smith had 290 or 275 receiving yards.
I didn't realize that.
Oh, it was incredible.
I was 10.
They had
11.
Jimmy Smith had 270 receiving yards or so against them in that game with 3 touchdowns. And Ray Lewis was here one time doing stuff with us. And I said, Ray, and he goes, Dwayne Starks, we never let him play man-to-man like that ever again. And so that defense was phenomenal. It's one of the best defenses you've ever seen.
Sack leader on the 2000 Baltimore Ravens.
Was it McCrary?
Rob Burnett. 10.5 sacks.
Was the best player, though. On the pass
only
rusher.
3 teams reached 20 points versus that defense. They pitched 4 shutouts. They had 10.3 points per game. And that was a Ray Lewis-led defense. You know that they were just out there.
Well, they had 2 325-pound tackles, which was big them, Siragusa and Sam Adams. It was almost impossible to run on.
Siragusa, one of my favorite sideline reporting personalities ever.
The late Siragusa.
Yeah, rest in peace, Goose. So now it's my pick. I'm going to – man, this is a tough one. These are the two that I'm picking between here. And I think I'm going to go with the 2015 Denver Bronco defense with the no-fly zone. The no-fly zone. Aqib Talib, Chris Harris, TJ Ward inflicting fear and pain on all receivers.
Von Miller.
Yes, I'm getting there. Super Bowl 50 MVP, Von Miller. My guy Remmers had a rough day against Von. But, yeah, I mean, nobody's going to play against it. It's 1 touchdown pass given up in the playoffs, 44 points given up in the playoffs. The Broncos defense was dominant, 2015.
All right, I'm going to go, man, See, I think like offenses, there's like 3 answers that are all nasty, but I'll go 07 Patriots just to kick it off.
Was that Randy Moss?
That was the Randy Moss year.
They didn't win.
Touchdown record. I know they didn't win it all.
Perfect regular season, right?
We have to, but they had exactly 16-0. The highest scoring offense of all time at that point. Obviously, they were passed by the Broncos later on, but that offense, they stopped playing offense most games because they were so dominant that year. So, yeah.
I remember, when the Patriots got Randy Moss, it was like, this isn't allowed, is it? Like, this can't happen.
I'm trying to think. Now I got to pick an offense.
Yep.
So,
or a coaching staff or a special teams unit.
You know what I'm going to tell my special teams unit? Punt the ball the hell out of the bounds and kick it out of the end zone.
It's okay to punt.
A special teams unit. I can't believe we included that in this exercise.
This is big. Devin Hester exists.
I was going to say, I'm drafting mine next.
Okay. Let me see if an offense. Do I want the Chiefs? Which Chiefs team was that? That was
18 was the best.
Yeah.
You're going to go 97.
But they didn't win it all in 18. 18 was the better one in terms of like points and whatnot.
They scored a lot.
19, they won it. But
the Broncos' best offense didn't win it either.
Didn't win it either. Yeah, it was 13 was the Broncos' best year.
What are my other options? I'm trying to think.
11 Packers were a nasty offense.
Yep.
Defensively, 0-2 Bucks.
No, I have a defense.
You have the defense.
I'm gonna. You know what? I'm gonna go with that. The Chiefs offense that didn't win.
2018 Chiefs.
Yeah,
that's on my list.
First year Tyreek.
425 yards per game, 309 pass yards per game, 35.3 points per game. They averaged over 110 rushing yards per game. It was Mahomes version 1, Hill, Kelsey. Only reason this team didn't win the Super Bowl was that defense.
Yeah. I'm going with that.
We got next.
For me, I'm going offense here. The 2011 New Orleans Saints. Okay. And they threw the ball all over the yard, but they were able to run the ball as well. 2011 Saints, 5,476 yards for Drew Brees, 46 touchdowns, which at the time was unbelievable. Now, they didn't lead those numbers in their division. I think it was Matt Ryan and the Falcons that year. But I'm going to be talking about Mark Ingram, Darren Sproles, Pierre Thomas, Chris Ivory, Marcus Colston, Jimmy Graham, and then the offensive line. That's really where it was like a big mismatch. You're looking at Jermon Bushrod, left tackle, Carl Nix, left guard. I think it was Brian De La Puente at center, who was a good do-it-all guy, the glue between the two guards. Jari Evans at right guard. Right tackle was Zach Streif. That was a group that really dominated the line of scrimmage inside to outside. The guard that was built around those guards, the two all-pro, Pro Bowl guards, Carl Nix, Jari Evans. Drew Brees was able to sit back there, do whatever the hell he wanted in the passing game. But it was the running game I fell in love with. In 2013, I got drafted by Aaron Kromer. Aaron Kromer, the only tape he gave me to instruct me on how to play the game of football was the run cut up and the pass cut up from the 2011 New Orleans Saints because of the things that Carl was able to do on the second level of mid zone, outside zone. Jari Evans on the backside of some of these big zone touchdown runs. They could do it all. The Saints in 2011, that's my favorite offense.
All right. I'm going to take the 06 Chicago Bears special teams.
That was my pick.
Devin Hester, five return touchdowns during the season, 1 in the Super Bowl, all-pro kicker Robbie Gould. Easy selection. One of the best special teams units of all time. They went 13-3 that year, went to the Super Bowl because
did you already say this? He ran the opening
kick off the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. It was like they were going to win.
First years of Devin Hester was
and then Peyton
12
Manning
return touchdowns in 2 years. Guy was out of his mind.
I'll punt the ball out of bounds. You won't. And by the way,
it's hard to. It's hard to punt the ball out of bounds.
Gunnar Olszewski has a higher punt return average than Devin Hester, in case you were wondering.
How many scores?
I mean, I look, Devin Hester's a Hall of Famer.
I don't care about getting 10 yards after the guy catches the ball. I want him taking it to the house.
Yeah, I'm just giving you facts.
All right. Go ahead.
Punt the ball out of bounds.
All right. Who you want next?
I'm going to pick a coaching staff.
Go for it.
Do we have to specify which team it is? I mean, because you could take.
I think we'll do like no repeats of like same staffs. So like if you take say like I don't know the Chiefs staff this year or whatever, you can't. No one else can take Chiefs last year if it's the same staff.
So I would take the Chiefs staff from last year.
Yeah, it was pretty nasty.
Yeah.
I mean, Spagnuolo, Andy Reid.
Me too.
That's why they keep winning, right?
Right, correct. I think Andy Reid's one of the best play callers we've ever seen, and I think sometimes it gets a little crazy with him, but I still think that, and I think Spagnuolo is one of the best defensive coordinators we've ever seen, who doesn't get the credit. Only lately has he started getting the credit that he deserves. So yeah, I'll take that staff. And I never liked the defensive coordinators that Belichick had really when he was in New England. You know,
they were all guys that kind of answered to him.
Correct.
They were do your bidding guys.
Josh kind of was exposed a little bit for being what he was as an offensive coordinator, I think. So I'll go with Andy Reid in that group.
Okay.
So you named the 06 Chicago Bears special teams unit, and it got me thinking, who was the coach there? I think it was Dave Tope was the coach who ended up being in Kansas City, and that was Dante Hall and those guys, correct? So what year would have Dante Hall's best?
That's before 2000.
What year would that have been?
He's before 2000.
Because I was
Dante
like
Hall?
12.
He was like early 2000s.
Was he?
Like
Was
2002.
So it was before. So that must have been before Tobe got to Kansas City.
Probably. Those were, who was the coach there? Dick Vermeil. Was the head coach back for those
Not
teams.
Dave Tobe. Dave Tobe was a young man then. How about Chip Kelly's special teams unit when Philadelphia? That was like Sproles and some huge plays from that unit. We're getting Deshaun Jackson. We're getting into some uncharted territory with special teams talk, but I'm thinking about teams that had big plays. It was like 97. Desmond Howard from the Packers, but that's before
the cutoff.
That's before our cutoff. Any suggestions here?
I know. Well,
we're not going to punt with our offense.
I got to pick a special teams group, so I'm not going to give.
He's not going to give you any hints here.
You know what? I'll just go with 2013 Philadelphia Eagles is what I'm going to say. John Dornbos is your long snapper.
What was it? 2010 was the year.
He's a magician. At least they're entertaining.
2010 was the year Deshaun had the. That was the year they kept blocking. What year did the Eagles keep blocking punts? Remember they had a year where they just kept blocking punts in there. That was under Chip Kelly though.
13 or 14.
It was probably around there.
There you go. There's my pick. 2013 Eagles.
All right, I'm going to go with the 2012 Commanders staff. The famed. It had LaFleur. It had Kyle Shanahan. It had Sean McVay. It had Bobby Slowick. Now, a lot of offensive guys, but I think they know defense too. And then Mike Shanahan was the head coach. So that's my staff.
They didn't win anything.
I'm talking about a coaching staff. I want them.
They were diapers. They didn't win anything.
Them to coach my team.
They weren't Jedis. They were at the Jedi Academy. They were still cadets. They were
those guys coaching my team.
Kyle was a different dude back then. I mean, guys, I want those.
Mike McDaniel wasn't.
Okay, I got to pick.
They had a terrible roster. Like that was not a good roster that they had to make the playoffs. It was.
I want a Patriots special teams that had Vinatieri and Matthew Slater together.
Oh,
well, he was there 18 years, Slater.
Right.
So probably
18.
Any of those mid 2000s.
So which one of those would be the best one of that? That's the ones I want.
Yeah, let's see.
I'll make my kicks and I'll have a great gunner on my my kickoff cover.
You really pissed in the punch bowl taking the 06 Bears.
Sorry about that.
It's like, come on, bro.
Well, my guys will. My special teams.
He's got the punt coverage units.
Right.
He's going punt coverage.
That's really good. You're going to punt a lot. That's good, dude.
My team's not punting at all, and my defense is going to be phenomenal.
All right.
So yeah, and who was they didn't ever have really good returners. Troy Brown wasn't a bad returner.
What's this? Edelman when he was early in his career.
And Troy Brown early in his career too. So whichever one of those, and I don't know what year we take it where they were all together.
All right, let's see. When did Vinatieri leave? Vinatieri was there through 05.
Did Slater cross over?
Let's see. He may not have.
He may not have.
Slater 08. So no crossover.
But I'd still take the Vinatieri.
Okay, Vinatieri years, early 2000s.
Yeah. I want my kicker making his damn kicks in big situations.
There you go. Kyle, your last pick. You need a coaching staff.
A coaching staff. I'll go with the current Chiefs staff.
He just picked. We just said we can't double up.
Well, let's go with the. Why can't we go with the current Chiefs staff?
Because I have the Chiefs.
Yeah. You took from what year?
Last year.
Fuck, you got me. I'm sitting here like doing my math, figuring out what I got to do.
You got to take one of the. You got to take one of the Belichick teams.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But which one is it? You know what I'm saying?
There was the year where the Rams had Wade Phillips and Sean McVay. That's a really good staff.
Yeah, you know what? Give me a Sean McVay staff. Give me people that are learning from Sean McVay.
And Wade was like top of his game still. I mean, that was the year they went to the Super Bowl.
Well, what about the Sean McVay staff when he had O'Connell and Raheem were on.
That's the one. 2018.
Yeah.
Was it 2018?
That's when they went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Give me the 2018 Rams. That was Jared Goff.
Was Raheem on? Was Raheem?
I think he might have been a DB coach back then.
Yeah, he wasn't the coordinator on that team.
But I think Wade Phillips
Cromer was the O-line coach. Yeah, give me the 2018 Rams.
Yeah, that's a good staff.
That's a good staff.
Oh, I forgot to say Chris Forster was the O-line coach for the Commanders teams. Great Miami legend.
That guy had a day in the sun, didn't he?
Yeah, he was a great coach.
Yeah, I mean, all the good ones are a little wild. All the good ones are a little wild.
Yeah.
I lied. Rasheem Morris is not in that staff. He wasn't in the Rams until 2021.
Doesn't affect my pick.
All right, my last one. I need a defense. I'm going to go with the 09 Jets defense. One of my favorites, Revis Island year. The peak cornerback play of anyone that I've seen the past 20 plus years. 1.02 points per drive that year. Now the Ravens and the 02 Bucks were the only two that were better.
Was that Mark Sanchez beating the Patriots in the playoffs?
Those teams did not have Mark Sanchez playing quarterback and basically turned Mark Sanchez through 20 picks that year. Yeah. And they still allowed 1.02 points per drive. So the top scoring defense in the NFL. So I like that defense.
Honorable.
And I got Darrelle Revis to shut down your guys' number one receivers.
By the way, you guys have no chance against my group.
Let's see. Pete, to recap, Pete's got the 2000 Ravens, the 2018 Chiefs offense, 2000 Ravens defense, obviously. I don't think we're doing anything else on that Ravens team. 2023 Chiefs coaching staff, and then the 2003 Patriots special teams. I have the 07 Patriots offense, the 09 Jets defense, the 2006 Bears special teams, and then the 2012 Commanders coaching staff. I'm putting up points on everybody. I'm just going to say it with that coaching staff and what I have and talent-wise, the 07 Patriots offense.
You had a bunch of 15-year-old kids on that staff then. They weren't coaches.
They made RG3 Rookie of the Year over Andrew Luck and Russell Wilson. RG3. All right, Kyle has the 15 Broncos defense, the Super Bowl winning defense, the 2011 Saints offense, the 2013 Eagles special teams, and then the 2018 Rams coaching staff. You guys let us know who won. I don't know. I like my offense, and I like my special teams. I'm going to put points on the board. And then I got Revis. Let me see. Your guys' number ones. Revis shuts down Tyreek.
You put too much value. 18%
Revis
of the game.
Revis shuts down Tyreek.
Yeah. 09 Revis was out of this world.
Have at it. I'll go somewhere. I'll go to Kelsey in his prime. Come on. And by the way, the Ravens 2000 defense is shutting down everybody.
That was a good defense. I'm not going to front.
Honorable mention, 2013 Seahawks, Legion of Boom.
Yeah.
Best in the league, total yards allowed, pass yards, interceptions, turnovers. Defense. I mean, Cam Chancellor, Richard Sherman, Earl Thomas, Bobby Wagner. And then you think about
that
Cliff
defense.
Averill,
That defense
Michael
was
Bennett.
special. But he had the number one scoring defense in the league 4 straight years. And the only team, the 50s Browns is the only other team to do that.
They beat the Broncos 43-8.
Yeah, it was in
the Super Bowl.
They beat them up. What are the ones did you have written down there as potential?
2013 Chicago Bears offense.
I had.
Take a look at that huddle. You want me to name the huddle off? Alshon Jeffrey, Martellus Bennett, Brandon Marshall, Matt Forte, a starting O-line that played every snap together. It was on my list.
Who was the quarterback?
Jay Cutler.
Exactly.
Yeah, no.
Go take a look at the numbers.
I think
historically bad defense.
02 Bucks. That was the Super Bowl winning Bucks team. That was the defense. And then the 11 Packers, which was I think third best scoring offense of the past since 2000.
That was an awesome.
That's not the team that's not the team that won though.
No, they went 15-1. It was
the team that won was when they went on the wild card run.
It was the same offense though for the most part. They just kind of it was like the run that they had in the playoffs. They just like the next year.
The run that I was on the covering games back then, and Rodgers' game at Atlanta was the greatest quarterback game I've ever seen in my entire life.
It was awesome to be.
It was not one pass went over like. Guys, everything was a bullet next to a guy's helmet.
Ball didn't touch the ground.
It was unreal. It was, and I remember I sat there and I watched it and I go, I've seen some great quarterbacks games. That was the best I've ever seen.
I just got goosebumps. That one was, I was there. That game was unbelievable. Like it was where they put up like 44 against the Falcons, who were the 1 seed, like top 5 defense in the NFL. And he didn't miss a throw the entire game. It was sweet.
That's a fun little exercise.
That's a fun exercise.
We could done without the special teams.
Yeah, but
it's inclusion.
I got the best.
2024. We want everybody to feel.
He included the special teams because he wanted to get the 06.
Well, I had drafted better than you guys. I don't know what to say. Though I worry about my defensive coaching staff. I will say I drafted the 6 best offensive minds on one coaching staff, and not a single. I didn't mention one defensive.
Go look at the coaching staff of the 2000 Ravens defense. You'd be surprised how many guys are on that staff.
Or the
Mike Smith, Jack Del Rio.
Ooh.
Yeah, who else was on it?
You had Marvin Lewis,
Yes.
Rex Ryan. Oh my Lord.
Marvin
Jack Del
Lewis
Rio.
called me Jake 4 times on my pre-draft
Right?
visit.
Mike Smith.
Donnie Henderson was the DB's coach. Let's see. No other names I really recognize.
But Mike Smith was on that
Yeah.
staff. Yeah. I mean, that's four guys that went on and became head coaches.
It's wild.
You guys were talking about special teams. How about last night when Joe Buck was essentially like, I've seen better kicks on College game day than that kick
Yeah.
by pass right there.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Well, he wasn't wrong.
All right, there you have it.
It was
We'll be
bad.
back tomorrow with a mailbag segment. Make sure to send us in your questions. If you leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcast, we will for sure, with your question, we will for sure get to it on tomorrow's show. Until then, though,
Thanks for coming, Pete.
keep pushing.
Peace.